All right, thanks for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast, including YouTube. So do us a favor, subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit the bell for notifications, and participate in the conversation below by commenting and upvoting the video if you would. I'm here with Cara McCutcheon, her weekly spot on Ole Miss sports. How you doing, Cara?
Doing good. Happy to be back this week.
Yeah, seriously, it wasn't exactly a fun week. It was just, it was kind of a football game. I told people before the season started, it's like this, even though these are talented players, you're going to have to ride the roller coaster a little bit. There's going to be games that slip away. There's going to be ups and downs and ebbs and flows that happens, and you have to be prepared for that. And I am wondering if some of the fan base was prepared for that.
I think we have some fans that almost cheer for us to lose so they can feel right more than they care about what's actually happening on the field. Like, there are a group of them that I think truly want us to lose just so they feel right about the program and not so much that they're really interested in what's happening in the program. The Randy Quaid is what I like to call them.
Yeah, you have a situation. The team's 7-1. Like the up and down is going to happen. They just lost a football game at Tiger Stadium. It was the first real road game for many of these players, and you bounce off of that, and all of a sudden you turn it on Monday, and people are talking about the game and the team like this is a 3-5 team with nothing to play for, and everything's going to go wrong. And I was like, I think you're absolutely right. I think people want to go negative when it goes to sports because eventually they will be right. Because in sports,
Right.
you're going to have a bad team. You're going to lose. You get to be right. That is a guarantee. But if you go the other way and you do the win thing and you're ready, you have confidence about what's going on, they have trouble, I guess, dealing with it. Maybe as managing expectations. I'm a little bit of a different fan when it comes to Ole Miss football and football in general. I'm so quick to move on. Even if Ole Miss would have beaten LSU by Monday, I would have been upset that I had to do the three takeaways show because I wanted to move on to A&M. And the same thing happens after a loss. I don't dwell. Some people, I think, lets it dwell and they just think back about what could have been, and
Well,
they have very
I saw this
very little
on Twitter.
patience for that.
Well, I saw this thing on Twitter of somebody. It was an Ole Miss account. I don't. I'm not saying who it is because of anything. I really don't remember who it was, but the post in itself said something along the lines of "Don't quit on this team. Don't quit on these guys. Show up, watch, like whatever." And I thought, who is giving up after one
Yeah.
loss? Like, maybe like if you are that person, like please do leave. Like, we don't need you. We'll be fine. Like if you and I love that we are Ole Missers, but I grew up also. I've been 36 years like with Ole Miss. Okay, like if you're not looking at bigger picture of where this program is, like that's just like you're just wanting that. You don't want to release the we are Ole Miss feeling. You want that to happen. Like you don't want to get excited about where things are. There were so many people coming into this season that told me Jackson Dart wasn't that great because of the spring game, that we lost our coordinators, we weren't going to be good. What else did I get old? Just everything. It's hard to have a transfer portal team because they're not going to play together. There's locker room problems. Lane's going to leave. He doesn't want to be there. I mean, all the stuff that's out there. And nobody, I don't care if anyone wants to talk about our schedule or not one person said even with our schedule, we'd be 7-1. They all told me we were going to lose to Kentucky. They all told me we were going to possibly lose to Vandy. Oh, we were never going to make it past like even the first 4 games. Tulsa, I was told we were going to lose to Tulsa. Like we have gone so far through that. So like there's so much happening. There's so much going on. Like this team is special. We had one bad game. That's okay. Brush
It
it off.
happens. It's football.
Yeah, I think some of the good things about that was I love that we were in Baton Rouge for the fact that A&M now, they've done it. So going into A&M is going to be really nothing for them because they experienced that hostile environment. They've played in it. That's done. So they now have this week to prepare and say, okay, we didn't actually do too bad in a sense of like false starts or things we couldn't get going because, it was so loud and we couldn't get plays in. Like they kind of experienced that. So I think as far as where this team is heading and where we're going, I'm ecstatic. I'm excited for the program. And I'm really excited for this game against A&M.
Yeah, and we'll talk about this A&M game because if Ole Miss can get past this A&M, get a W, it doesn't matter if it's about 1 point or 40 point. If they can get past this game, that sets up the biggest game to be played in Vaught-Hemingway Stadium since 2003. And you got 2 weeks to get ready for it. That is on the table, and I don't think people are realizing that that's even a possibility. That can happen. But first, you have to take care of business in College Station. And if Ole Miss would have beaten LSU on Saturday, this would have been the mother of all trap games. Now, as it is, it's kind of a get-right game. And I saw you posting on Twitter and in our spaces talking about Texas A&M and their run defense deficiencies. I started posting a little bit about that today. If you could talk about that for a bit.
So if you actually look at everyone loves to talk about the defense at Texas A&M and how great they are. Well, yeah, because what else is good right now at Texas A&M? So of course they're going to talk about the only thing that's decent. But if you look at them and you really explore the numbers and you really get and dig deep, they are amazing against the pass. They are a great red zone defense. They are not good at the rush. They are 102nd ranked as a rush defense. The thing is, and I know people, you could say, oh, well, if they get shot, if we have Evans, we have that. We don't have just one really great, running back and one decent one. We have two really great running backs. We have a quarterback that's really good on the ground. We have such a ground attack, and yes, you'll have to go to the air. Yes, we'll have to do some of that, but it won't be every drive that we're just running over them. For all my people are freaking out because I sound like a homer, but we have so much more advantage on the ground in our offense than what this defense has shown. If you look at them against Alabama, you look at them against all these other, they have given up, I think on the ground about 180 yards a game. Our guys are averaging together between the two of them about a combined 190. We got 19 touchdowns between Quinjon and Zach throughout the year on the ground. That's just on the ground. So our ground game could really help us get out in the open, or what Lane will do is kind of what he did against LSU. He's going to come out with dart throwing to kind of open up for the run and get them off base, because they're going to definitely be preparing for that. They're going to be preparing for the ground game. So I'm interested to see what's going to shake out here, but I think we have a pretty good talent wise there against what their weakness is.
Yeah, and they've played Arkansas, who's second in the SEC in the run. Arkansas exceeded their season average in that game. Alabama, who is fourth in the run, they exceeded their season average in that game as well. They ran for 286 yards. Now, if Ole Miss has a game like that where they run for close to 300 yards, this game is over. It's not even there. It was over against Alabama. The only reason A&M was in it is because Jalen Milroe kept dropping the ball on the ground. But this is an A&M team that has some problems. I put some stats out today. They have trouble pass blocking. The quarterback is under pressure the most percentage of times in drop back situations compared to the rest of the conference. The yards after contact, Devin A. Chain, for whatever reason, he goes down fairly easily. He's pretty good. But when you look at this game, in this video today, I did a thing where it's hey, this game is going to be about 65 to 75 plays. Each team's going to have about 65 to 75 plays. Devin A. Chain, the most he can get is 25. If you contain those 25, the next 50 is what the Ole Miss defense is up against. It's not up against David O'Chain. They're up against the rest of them. If you look at the other side of the ball, Ole Miss Quinshon Judkins and Zach Evans, that's 50 plays of running the ball, of giving the ball to their best players. And I think that can just overwhelm a team from time to time. And I think that there's a greater chance that Ole Miss blows this game out than Texas A&M comfortably wins this game, I think, if you just look at the analytics of it all.
Right. So I think also, I know a lot of people are going to focus in on all the behind the scenes stuff. And to me personally, that is great to troll people on Twitter with. It does not matter to this game. And I really think people need to understand that. When people say, oh, the locker room problems they're just quitting. That athletes, I'm sorry, they don't really, as a collective, think that way. That's not going to be a case in most of the time. They're not going to drop this game to get Jimbo out of there. The locker room stuff is so much fun just to like poke at, and upset Aggie fans. But so I think I don't really look at that when I'm thinking about the team and where they are. I'm sure Durkin is going to be prepared. If you remember last year, they had a heavy run with Spiller and H8, and Durkin, came at the Spiller and basically shut him down. So I am know that Durkin's going to be prepared for us. I just think if you look at the full game and you look at how long, I don't think they'll be able to stand up with it. And if we can please make adjustments this week and get those in going, I still see us winning this game, whether it's by 2-1, whatever. I just see us winning this game. I think we are going to come out with the number 8.
Yeah, if people are looking for keys in this game, if A&M starts having 3 and outs, that's one thing. But if they start stringing together first downs, now they're going to get some. That happens all the time. But if they can do a slow, methodical drive, real similar to what Vandy did, that's probably the A&M path moving forward in this game, is to have a drive like that. Don't you think, Cara?
Yeah, and I think also, too, if you think mindset, we're bowl eligible. That should not be the reason to not win games, but these guys are still fighting for a season, right? Like they're still fighting for a postseason. They're not close to if they want a bowl or they want to win at least 6 games, like they're behind there right now. So they're going to come at us. It's also at home. I think this is actually their first conference game at home this season.
Yeah. Because the Arkansas game was in Dallas.
Game, and so they're gonna have some good plays. Haynes, he stepped up and he played well against Alabama. He stepped up and he played well even last week. Gosh, they had like a 498 yards total last week. It still lost that game. I'm sorry, 398 yards total last week. It still lost that game to South Carolina. So they're going to have plays. They're going to get stuff in. They're going to score. We just have to be able to maintain what we're doing. We have to maintain defense. I hope if we are in zone, the zone doesn't have to be so wide. So
I think they need to populate the box in this game.
Yeah.
This is not a game for a light box. Go up and challenge them, make them have to beat you. Anyway, in this game, what is your score prediction?
So I've gone back and forth. So I think I went a little low, obviously, last week, but I think I'm going to stay there. I'm going to give A&M some credit. I'm going to go about 28-24.
28-24. I'm going with 34-27, which would be high for an A&M offensive output, but I just think this game is going to look more like Auburn than like Kentucky, potentially. But I think Ole Miss is going to win the game. Anyway, thanks for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen today. For your second listen today, check out Locked On Sports Today. From the games that matter to the biggest stories in sports, go beyond the scoreboard and behind the scenes with the local experts and insights only Locked On can provide. It's Locked On Sports Today, available on the App Store, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcast. Cara, thank you very much for coming on today. Get ready. I guess, are you going to the game Saturday real quick?
No, I actually have to be out of town, so I'm going to miss this one.
Okay. Well, I think the get-in price was $2. Something like that was going around online. It was $2 to get in. So they're not handling things very well in Aggie land.
I think somebody actually trolled that. I think it's like they forgot a 0 or something. Like I think that turned out to be a joke, but it's still fun.
Oh, yeah. So anyway, we will see you next week, and you have a good one, man. Okay.
You too. Hotty toddy.
Hotty toddy.